Today we're on the Caribbean side of Costa Rica. When traveling around Costa Rica, you'll hear it everywhere. The Caribbean is a totally different place, with different people, different music, and different food. We'll be showing you all you need to know, where to stay, where to eat, and where to have fun, in the towns of Kahuita and Puerto Viejo. We'll also be visiting the beaches towards the Manzanillo Wildlife Refuge, which is right near the border with Panama.
This is the Just Go Travel Show, the only travel show that's actually a travel guide. That's right, we want to get you out of your holiday resort and back on the road to discovery and adventure the way travel should be. But we also know it's a scary world out there, and that's why this show shows you everything like it is, so you know what to expect before making a decision. That's also why you can take this travel guide along on your trip for free. Not only the videos, but also complete listings and descriptions for your iPod, mobile phone, iPhone, anything with a screen and some memory. Or you can print it out. And that's also why you'll be seeing these links on your screen all through the show. Just go to justgoguides.com and fill in the keywords that are showing. The black and white squares are mobile links. With the right software on your mobile, you'll be taken to the right page instantaneously.
So now that you're all informed and settled down, and before we continue to talk about the Caribbean side, here's what we think about Costa Rica. Costa Rica borders Nicaragua to the north and Panama to the south. This country is extremely geared towards tourism, especially from the US and Canada. This is why this is a rather expensive country to travel in, and very unlike countries like Thailand and Vietnam, where similar experiences are possible for a fraction of the price. This said, Costa Rica is extremely rich in nature-oriented experiences, like jungle trekking, canopy walks, rafting and surfing, all of those available in all levels of difficulty. Because of the rich and protected nature, it's very easy to get close to all sorts of wildlife, but the animal you're likely to see the most of is your fellow tourist, in all shapes and sizes. Costa Rica has something for everyone, and maybe that's why everyone is here. If you're okay with being one of the crowd and leave your uniqueness at home for the time of your holidays, then this country is definitely for you. To get here, you can take a plane to San Jose, the capital, or some other international airport dotted around the country. If you're traveling in from the north or the south, the border crossing is easy when you stick to the Pan American Highway. The same counts for the buses connecting all Central American countries, like Ticabus or Panaline. You can also walk in or out of Panama near Bocos del Toro or Nicaragua in Los Cheles, following your route by boat or taxi. Getting around is easy by local bus service, which is cheap, widespread and punctual, or by car. As everyone will tell you, Costa Ricans are dangerous drivers, but you can get around quite easily. The main roads are bumpy but good, while secondary roads are almost always littered with potholes. With a good map, you'll find it easy to get around, although the road signs are rather scarce. Often they will only tell you the name of the next town, failing to mention any destinations that lie further ahead. If you are the kind of person who likes it all planned, you will probably be driven around in these small tourism buses from one experience to the other. All hotels have contacts available to get you to your next thrill and back again in time for dinner. Back to the Caribbean, trying to give it our hardest possible review. It's not easy being hard on the so-called laid-back side of Costa Rica, where so many people look like Bob Marley. Nature surrounds you completely, and everything you see has a haze around it, arising from the mix of heat, sea air and vibrant colours. Surprisingly, people are a bit less open here, a little more into their own heads. When asking a question here, you may get a quiet stare for an answer, leaving you wondering if the answer will ever come. Foreigners reign the Caribbean. In our not-so-scientific calculations, over 80% of all businesses here are foreign. So if you want the real Costa Rican life, this is not where you should be looking. We actually wonder if there is something like a real Costa Rican life. This is the Caribbean side. It includes the Tortuguero National Park, with no roads and packed with wildlife. And further south you'll find Puerto Limon, a port town with all the bananas and pineapples that you eat are shipped. It's not really worth a visit, although the same can't be said for the slow beach town of Kahuita, with its busy neighbour, Puerto Viejo de Talamanca, some 20 kilometres further south. Puerto Viejo is the entrance to a strip of beaches and beach towns that are hard to distinguish from one to the other, ending up in Manzanillo and the Gandoca Manzanillo National Wildlife Refuge. Getting here is easy. Lots of local buses to get you to the Caribbean from San Jose or any of the other major inland towns. They run on time, are regular and are cheap. You can get here by car easily, although you'll catch lots of truck traffic towards Puerto Limon. It takes around 3 hours to get from San Jose to Limon, mostly spent getting out of San Jose and getting into Puerto Limon. If you want to go straight to Tortuguero National Park, you'll need to get a boat from Siquirres. Although there are tours from all over Costa Rica to get you there, no cars can get in and you'll need to book a stay of a couple of nights. The rest of the Caribbean side of Costa Rica can be accessed a lot easier, and the animals are quite different too. They usually surf, sell jewellery in local stalls, cruise around in highly pimped automobiles, or just hang around doing nothing. This is Puerto Viejo de Talamanca we're talking about, the most popular destination on the Caribbean coast. Before you get here, you'll need to pass Limon, as there's nothing to see here, and maybe take a stop at Kahuita, a nice calm little town with some great restaurants and lots of backpacker accommodation. A real paradise for a couple of days, with some pretty beaches, one black and another one inside the national park, which is teeming with wildlife and a real gem to have a stroll in, even for those in a not so great physical condition. Another great idea is to take some time to snorkel the local coral reef. You can do it by yourself, there's no need to book a tour for this. This brings us back to Puerto Viejo, 20 kilometres further down the road, and the entrance town to a fabulous strip of beaches and beach towns. Cocles, the surf beach, Playa Chiquita and Playa Uva, postcard beaches, and Manzanillo, the settlement that takes you into the Gandoca Manzanillo National Wildlife Refuge. The whole bumpy road is lined with accommodation, so if you're not into booking beforehand, you can easily drive around and visit them all. There really is something for everybody, but here are some just go suggestions. Rocking J's is likely to be the place you'll end up when you are backpacking or just not wanting to spend too much money. Rocking J's has every possible horizontal option mankind has ever thought of, from hammocks over tents to cabinas, small two-person cabins where you get the feeling you're not completely on top of your vomiting neighbour. There is a good bar, a space to hang around and free wireless internet, so you can keep in touch with your friends and family back home while keeping up appearances that you're still in some sort of human shape. On the other end of the scale, you have your traditional five-star hotels, although not so many of them. But the interesting accommodation can be found in the middle of the scale. For some $70 a night, you can lay your tired bones to rest in Tierra de Sueños, run by an American couple, Brendan and Angie. Their bungalows are really tucked away in a magnificent garden that looks like it's actually the jungle. The accommodation is clean, well decorated, and full of little surprises that you get used to not having in Costa Rica. Due to the tin roofs, it may be a little noisy when it rains heavily, but hey, you're in the jungle. This place makes a difference though through its maintenance. Usually in Costa Rica, maintaining wooden houses in a heavy-duty sea salt heat jungle atmosphere is a full-time job, and many hotel owners give it up after a while. Not here, they don't. Sunbathing, jungle trekking, wildlife spotting, it makes you hungry. And in the Caribbean, you can get a lot to eat. And it's usually quite good too. Try the dishes that come with coconut rice or with patacones, smashed down fried green bananas. And there is fruit that tastes a lot better at the source than how you usually get them at the supermarket. What an abundance of food. Since many of the restaurants are in foreign hands, you can also get all-world cuisine. Sometimes rather a nice try than the real thing, but hey, this is your holiday. Jesco gives you 3 great suggestions. The first for breakfast. It's a nice little place in the centre of Kahuita called 100% Natural, and this is where you need to have breakfast. The combinations are quite original and filling, exactly what you need when you don't want the same as usual, but need some energy to make your next intrepid journey. In Puerto Viejo, we have 2 suggestions for you. Chili Rojo, an oriental-oriented cuisine type of restaurant on the first floor of the most central shopping centre here. It has a great view of the main street of Puerto Viejo to look at while you're nibbling away at one of the great dishes that you can order here. There's also a bar, very handy since it sometimes does get a little busy. Don't miss out on Chili Rojo when you're here. More traditional perhaps is the Mare Nostrum restaurant. Fresh fish in a relaxed, traditional-like atmosphere. It's simple, and maybe that's exactly what makes it good. For around $7, you get a complete healthy meal with a beer. And now the final judgment on the Caribbean side of Costa Rica. A little less friendly than the non-Caribbean Costa Ricans, but maybe that's because they're a little too laid back. I wonder why. A 7. Sleeping here is a bit less expensive than in the rest of Costa Rica, which doesn't make it cheap, but there's a lot to choose from, and in low season you're sure to be able to negotiate. A 6. The Caribbean kitchen gives a nice coconut flavour to all dishes. And if you don't like coconut, there's many different cuisines around, from fusion to Asian. We say it's an 8. The roads are excellent here, if you're renting a car, except for the strip of beaches going to Manzanillo. But once you're here, the easiest way to get around is by bike, which is what everybody does. You don't come to the Caribbean for culture, that's for sure, nor to Costa Rica, as a matter of fact. There aren't even any markets here, so a sad 1 for culture. Apart from surf and snorkeling, there's not so much action here as in the rest of Costa Rica, and maybe that's a good thing. No canopé walks, no crowds, just you, your feet, and maybe a surfboard. Costa Rica is a giant 3D postcard, a maximum score for the landscapes, nature, and its views. What is it with the Caribbean beaches that they always look better on a picture than in reality? They're pretty good, but there's a lot better around, so we award them a 7. This is our view on Costa Rica and its Caribbean coast. If you want to know more about this region, other regions of Costa Rica, or other countries, or take our travel guide along in your trip, please visit justgoguides.com. Don't tell us we didn't warn you.